Sir, excuse me, sir. Welcome to Whitby Newtown Leisure Centre, and how may I help you?
I was just checking when the pool was open.
9:20 to 12:50, 1:15 to 7:45, sir.
I saw that, thank you.
Yes, just 1 minute. Could I ask you a question before you go?
Yes?
I wonder, were you planning to use our cafeteria during your visit today?
Well, no, I only called in to check.
Is there any particular reason why not?
No, as I
Now,
said...
would you be more prepared to use our cafeteria if we provided vegetarian food?
No.
If we displayed calorie counts by each dish?
No.
Baked our own bread on the premises?
There's no point asking me. I only called in to check pool times, OK?
Disposable cutlery? Oh, please, it would be so helpful if you could... Have a nice day.
How's it going, Carol?
Oh, Mr. Brittas.
You haven't forgotten I want those questionnaires by 4 o'clock?
No, Mr. Brittas, would it matter dreadfully if you didn't have quite all of them?
I need all 100, Carol. I cannot make meaningful deductions from a statistical sample any smaller than that. Gabby?
No, of course not.
Basement toilet's backing up again.
Oh, morning, Tim.
Patrick's closed down the lid and tried to seal it down with sellotape, but there's definitely something wrong with those drains.
I'll call the man. Tim,
Yes?
have you finished filling in your questionnaires?
I've just handed them to Laura. Why?
You didn't have any trouble getting people to fill them in?
Oh, absolutely none at all.
Really?
The thing I had to bear in mind was that Mr. Brittas needed those forms, and I had to make sure he got them. I found that sort of carried me through.
I see.
So, what do you think?
Well, does this mean you'll be going away again, Mr.
Yeah,
Brittas?
I'm not going anywhere, Gavin.
Oh, yes, of course.
But someone else might be.
Right.
Someone who one day may be interested in becoming a manager or a deputy manager, him or herself.
Right. Oh, you don't mean... Oh, right.
Yeah. I've been watching you, Gavin Featherly. There aren't many people on this staff who have what I call LMP, leisure management potential. But you have the attitude and maybe even the calling.
Oh, goodness.
Let me know what you think at lunchtime, eh?
Yeah, Mr. Brittas, I wondered, do we really have room for another manager? I mean, we already have 2 managers. Well, 3 if you count yourself.
I can't be too specific at this juncture in time, Gavin. Let's just say there's a possibility that a vacancy for deputy manager may be coming up in the foreseeable future.
You mean someone's leaving?
That I'm not at liberty to discuss, Gavin. Got to be rather discreet at this point. Tell Colin to come to my office, please, Carol.
I've got Tim's questionnaires in the pool for you.
Thank you, Laura.
The main thing the public seem to want is higher pay for pool staff.
Really?
Yes. Yes, according to these, they'd be quite happy to pay twice as much for the ticket if they knew the money was going straight into the hands of the lifeguards.
Now, that does surprise me.
You're planning to use this sort of information, are you, Mr. Brittas?
This is going to be the basis for a complete overhaul of our administrative structure, Laura. If I'm to go to Brussels, I want this place to be as sharp and effective as possible.
Oh, good.
Though there is one simple change that I think we all know would do a lot more than anything else.
What's that?
Hasn't it ever occurred to you, Laura, that most of the upsets in this centre are caused by one person?
Well,
One member of the team, Laura, who means well, but is consistently the dead pigeon in the jet turbines of management.
well,
And have you ever tried to imagine what this place would be like without him?
I have sometimes.
He has to go, Laura. I cannot justify having a swimming pool manager with a skin condition which means he can't go in water.
Oh, you're talking about Colin.
Of course I'm talking about Colin.
You're not going to fire him.
That man is dead weight, Laura.
Well, you must do what you think best, Mr. Brittas. But I'm telling you now, you're not going to find it easy. Not today.
So sorry I'm late, Mr. Brittas. Just to let you know, I've got your message and I'll be with you as soon as I've made a rather urgent trip to the toilet.
Colin, what's happened to your eyes?
Ah, yes. I'm afraid I've been blinded, Mr. Brittas. Still, we mustn't dwell on my little problems. I'll be as quick as I can.
Do you want a hand, Colin?
I beg your pardon? Oh, I see what you mean. No, thank you, Laura. I should be able to find it on my own.
What happened to him?
His garden blew up. You know his organic vegetable bed? Turns out it was built on 70 feet of toxic waste dating back to the 50s. Nobody realised quite how much gas was building up until yesterday evening he went to light his charcoal pit and... The hospital wanted to keep him, but he insisted on coming in.
Why?
He didn't want to let you down. He said you've always taught him to put duty before minor personal discomfort.
I get your message, Laura, but I'm afraid it doesn't change anything.
He's been blinded, Mr. Brittas.
Which means he's now medically incapable of doing his job as well as incompetent. I'm sorry, when he comes back here, I'm going to fire him.
Colin.
Laura, what are you doing in here?
This happens to be my office, Colin.
Don't tell me I've taken a wrong turn.
Colin, come here, I want to talk to you. Colin, stop right there, stay right where you are. Give me this. There we go. Take you to the seat, please, Laura.
I don't think you'll need me for this bit. Oh, I don't know if Colin mentioned it, but the eye surgeon said there was every chance he may regain his sight if he avoids all excitement and sudden shocks. You'll bear that in mind, won't you?
Don't worry about me, Laura. When you had something like your garden explode, what's left to shock you, eh?
Now, Colin, I've been reviewing your job situation.
I never cease to be grateful for it, Mr. Brittas.
Colin.
The thing about having a job is it gives you a sense of purpose.
Yes,
and if there's one thing I've learned from you, Mr. Brittas, is that if you don't have a purpose in life, you may as well give up the ghost and throw yourself on the scrap heap.
Colin, would you allow me to speak, please?
Sorry, Mr. Brittas.
Right, now, I have something to say to you, and you're not making it easy for me. Brittas. Yes. Yes, he is, Carol. Right. All right, Carol, bye. Colin.
Yes?
Colin, I have to go downstairs for a minute. Just wait here, will you? Have a biscuit.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brittas.
I've told you you can have it back, Mr. Furnival, just as soon as you finish filling in this questionnaire. Thank you very much. Whitby Newtown Leisure Centre, how can I help you? Oh, Miss Bruce, you want to speak to Mr. Bruce? Yes, I can take a message. You want a divorce? Yes, I'll see that he gets it.
Helen, it's me. Are you all right? Of course I don't mind. I'd love to talk about it. How soon can you get in? Oh, Helen. Have you got Mrs. Brittas's box?
Yes, of course.
Come on, tell me all about it.
Right, Carol, what is it?
Ah, Miss Brittas.
You had some news for Colin.
Yes, it's about his aunt. It's very sad. You see...
Linda?
I'm sorry, Mr. Brittas. There's all this stuff coming out of the lavatory. I tried flushing it, but just more of it pours out over the floor.
You must know the routine for a backed-up toilet by now, Linda.
Yes, but...
You block the bowl, put an out-of-order notice on the door, then get Carol to call some drainage engineers.
Well, as a matter of fact, Mr. Brittas, I did try earlier.
No, I don't want to hear about trying, Carol. I want a trained operative here and on the job, all right? Now, what's this about Colin's aunt?
Oh, she died.
Died?
Yes, I'm afraid Colin's going to be terribly upset. This is the aunt who brought him up as a boy, you see, after his parents passed away in the combine harvester.
Yes.
The nursing home wanted to know if you wouldn't mind breaking the news.
Right, I better do that, Carol.
Yes.
I don't want to go to Brussels, Laura. It's bad enough when things go wrong in this country, but when you can't even speak the language. I mean, how do I tell a doctor I need stronger pills in Flemish?
You think he might get the job, then?
Oh, he sailed through the first 4 interviews. Everyone thinks because of his medals he's a hero. You saw Jeremy Paxman fawning all over him on Newsnight.
I hadn't realised things were going so well.
Oh, I've tried everything to stop him. 3 weeks ago, I even decided to stop letting him, you know. Just to show him how upset I was.
How's that working?
Oh, it's been hell. I've never felt so... You met with Gordon, didn't you?
Yeah.
I don't think he's actually noticed yet.
You have told him, have you?
How do you mean?
That you don't want to go to Brussels. You have actually told him.
You think that would help?
I think it might. Look, if you like, I can have a
Oh,
word.
would you, Laura? A divorce would sound so much better coming from you.
Helen, I meant that I could say that you wanted to have a talk.
Oh. Oh, I see. Well, give me 5 minutes, eh?
Is that you, Mr. Brittas?
Yes, Colin.
Julie very kindly made some coffee. Can I pour you one?
Thank you.
It's one sugar, isn't it, Mr. Brittas?
Colin?
Oh, my word. That sets you up.
Colin, Carol's just given me some news for you.
I haven't won the polls, have I?
No, it's about your aunt, Mrs. Witherspoon.
That's Miss, actually, Mr. Brittas. She never married. I'm the nearest thing she has to a son.
Colin?
Oh, it's not the hiccups again, is it?
What?
Only the last time they lasted a fortnight. What that woman suffered.
Colin, would you just shut up and let me speak, please?
I'm sorry, Mr. Brittas.
Colin, the news is rather serious, I'm afraid.
More serious than hiccups.
I'm afraid it falls to me to have to inform you.
She's died, hasn't she?
Well, yes, she has.
That's typical of you, Mr. Brittas.
What?
Here you are trying to spare my feelings and all I can do is chatter away.
I am very sorry, Colin.
It's all right. She was 93, you can't expect. Would you have a tissue, please?
There you go.
What have I done, Mr. Brittas?
It's all right, Colin, I'll get it. Oh, you, come back!
What? What is it?
That bird of yours is flying around my office.
Shut the door, Mr. Brittas! If it gets out of the second, we'll never get it back! Shut the door! It didn't make it into the passage, did it?
No, it didn't make it into the passage, Colin.
I'm sorry to make such a fuss, Mr. Brittas. It's just that with Auntie dying, Jeremy's the last person I've got left. Come on. Come to Daddy's son.
It's all right, Colin. I've got it.
Thank heavens for that.
I'll tell you what, Colin, I'll take it downstairs. I think what it needs now is a drink of water.
And you've no idea who did this to you?
No.
Well, I'll go and call a locksmith. In the meantime, I wonder, would you fill in a questionnaire about our cafeteria? Thank you very much.
Got to pop out for 5 minutes, Carol. Anyone needs me mobile?
Yes,
Mr. Brittas, Miss Brittas!
Now, Laura.
Your wife wants to talk to you very urgently.
Well, tell her to wait, will you? You're going to pop down to the pet shop to buy a canary.
She is very upset.
Upset?
Yes. Have you noticed anything odd about her behaviour recently?
Well, she has been tense. Anyone who starts picking off strips of wallpaper at 3 in the morning is obviously frustrated about something. But I am dealing with it, Laura.
Dealing with it.
I bought her a present.
It's a mini keyboard.
It's actually a Casio club, Laura. I thought she had an outside interest.
Mr. Brittas, I think the main cause of the problem is that your wife doesn't want to go to Brussels.
Really?
And I think you should talk to her about it.
I will.
She's in the staff room.
I will, Laura, just as soon as I've found someone to buy this bird foot. Tim?
Yes, Mr. Brittas.
I want you to do something for me, please.
Past the first floor now, Mr. Brittas.
What?
The toilets.
I bunged out the ones on the ground floor like you said.
But now it's coming through upstairs.
I thought Carol was calling the drainage engineers.
I did, Mr. Brittas, but they won't come. Something about a letter you sent to Customs and Excise?
But there must be some others. What about the ones we had last week?
If you mean the people on Tuesday, you sent them home because they had the Union Jack upside down on their overalls. I've tried lots of others, but we seem to be on some sort of list.
Look, do you still want me, or can I go away?
Yes, I still want you to go down to town and buy another one of these, please.
It's Jeremy.
What?
It's Colin's canary.
What have you done to him?
I haven't done anything, Gavin. It got trapped in a door.
You killed him.
Just do as you're told, please, Timothy. As near like this one as you can, please.
You mean with a crushed thorax and blood all over it?
Just do as you're told. Right, as I see it, we have one flushing closet on the top floor here with no knowing how long it's going to hold out. This is what will happen.
He won't be long, Helen.
Attention all staff, attention all staff. We are moving to emergency toilet procedure green. I repeat, we are moving to ETP green.
This is what it's going to be like in Brussels, isn't it? Only out there we won't even understand the ambulance men.
It might not be.
How do you mean?
Has he told you anything about the job?
Oh, he never stops.
No, only I just thought. It's mostly making rules, isn't it? Preparing reports, setting up initiatives, theory.
So?
Well, he does that sort of thing rather well. Look, Helen, most of the trouble here is because he has to deal with people, and he's dreadful at that. But working in Brussels has got nothing to do with people. I think he may have found his niche.
His what?
Put him in the right place, Helen, make him a square peg and a square hole, he could be a different person.
Do you really think so?
Could be better for you, better for him, better for everyone.
Brussels? It's quite close to Amsterdam, isn't it?
Quite.
I've always thought they had very sensible laws about drugs and things.
Get on the talking pages, Julie. There must be someone in this country prepared to rod a drain.
What are you going to do about Colin?
What?
He's still waiting.
Colin, I'll give him 5 minutes. Get his cards ready, will you? Now, where's that pamphlet I wrote on unemployment?
See ya.
Right. Sorry to have kept you waiting, Colin.
Don't you worry about me, Mr. Brittas.
Now, you probably know what I want to say to you.
I have a sneaking suspicion, yes?
Well, that makes it easier for both of us, doesn't it? Let me start by giving you this.
Thank you, Mr. Brittas.
Now, Colin, you've been here for 5 years.
Can you still remember our birthdays?
What?
I only wish I could see the card. Has everybody signed it?
Colin?
I wonder if I could ask a favour, Mr. Brittas. Only yours isn't the only card I had this morning. I wonder, have you time to tell me who they're from?
Yes, of course, Colin. Right, well, this one is from Pauline the milkman.
How very thoughtful.
This one's from the Young Telegraph. Happy birthday, Clubber. And this one says, Dear Colin, I'm so sorry, it's all gone. There's nothing left, I'm so sorry. So terribly sorry, signed G. Adams. Who's G. Adams?
That's my accountant, Mr. Brittas.
Your accountant? What's he doing in Rio?
Rio? No idea, Mr. Brittas. I was under the impression he was still living in Wellington Road.
I hope this man hasn't got any of your money, Colin.
Everything, Mr. Brittas. Life savings, insurance policies, pension plan.
I see.
It's all right, Mr. Brittas. These things happen.
Where are you going, Colin?
I think, if you don't mind, I'd like to get back to work.
Colin,
As you so often say, Mr. Brittas, work is the great healer. Thank goodness I've still got that, eh? But there wasn't anything else, was there?
Colin, you just get back to work, Colin.
I have called our engineer, sir. In the meantime, I wonder, would you mind filling in one of these? Thank you.
What's going on?
It's the only way I can get anyone to fill in one of these forms, dear.
Oh, Carol.
What are you doing? What?
I think you'll find it's all right now, sir. You fill the forms in yourself, Carol. That's what everybody else did. I'll show you.
What you did? No.
No,
please.
that's because Britta says in any genuine survey, 2% of the papers are always spoiled. Now you think of a name.
Is that you, Tim?
Colin, I thought you'd gone home.
I haven't actually got a home to go to at the moment, Tim. Shouldn't we be on duty?
Yes, but you're still...
Mr. Brittas's orders, if you'd like to lead the way.
Yes, of course. Carol, could you make sure Mr. Brittas gets that filing cabinet?
Filing cabinet?
Oh, yes. Excuse me. I can't seem to find a working lavatory.
No, that's because we haven't any. I wonder, could you tell me, was it a number 1 or a number 2?
I'm sorry.
Well, if it was a number 1, there's a bucket behind the screen in the gymnasium. And if it's a number 2, you want to follow the signs out to the little wooded area by the dual carriageway. And if I could ask you to return the spade in a condition that you would expect to find it. Mr. Brittas, I have your canary.
Mr. Brittas, everything went all right, did it?
Well, he's a bit more yellow than I'd have liked.
No, I
Laura,
meant
but
with your wife. Is she feeling any better?
Unfortunately, Laura...
You haven't seen her, have you?
I fully intend to.
Yes, of course. I should have realised that buying a canary was far more important than the breakup of your marriage. How silly of me!
Laura? I'm going to see her, Laura. I'm going to see her right now.
Mr. Brittas?
Not now, Gavin. Oh, what is it?
Well, I'm sorry to disturb you, Mr. Brittas, but Tim wondered if you were sure about Colin.
What about Colin?
Well, if it was a good idea for him to go back on duty?
Yes?
In the swimming pool?
It's okay, I'm onto it. Something there, Tim. Can you give us a hand? Okay, lad. Get a hold of this. aside. Go now, I'll pull you out. We've got another one, Tim. I'm not sure I can manage them both on my own. Tim!
Colin, what the hell do you think you're doing?
Thank heavens you're here, Mr. Brittas. I'm working at a slight disadvantage here, you see.
I think you've done quite well, Colin.
I've only got one so far.
Oh, no, you've got 4.
Really? If only I could see.
I'd be grateful you can't.
Colin, up to my office now. OK, Linda, get an ambulance with oxygen resources as fast as possible. Julie, chair to support this lady's head, please. Quick, come on, this is an emergency. Right, there we go. Patrick, we're going to find out the names of that man's parents and get them down here. Sandra, that head injury needs a proper compress. Medical box left-hand side of the corridor. Linda, see if you can rustle up some hot drinks, Gavin, blankets and insurance forms.
This is a good time to talk, Gordon.
Not exactly, my darling.
Sorry, Mr. Brittas, I'll take over now.
Colin! Leave that woman alone, Colin.
I've located the injury, Mr.
Get out of here, Colin.
But, Mr. Brittas...
Up to my office now.
Yes, right.
Right, that does it. I want that man out of this building now. Patrick, attend to her, please. Julie,
It was only a
not
quick
now,
one,
my
Gordon,
darling.
just to
Julie, write out a cheque for Colin's salary plus a week and draft a standard thank you and goodbye letter.
You're not going to fire him.
Just watch where you're dripping blood, please, Tim.
I've got the insurance forms, Mr. Brittas.
Right, well done, Gavin. I want you to clear Colin's locker for me. You'll find some protective gloves in the resources cupboard. Put everything in a plastic bag and put it by the door.
But you can't do that.
Look, you keep out of this. You're supposed to be injured, Tim. Linda, organise a taxi for me, please.
really won't take more than a moment.
You can't fire a blind man on his birthday.
I can do what I want, Tim. I'm the manager.
Gordon, if you were just
Hi, darling. I think I know what your problem is. If you take this into the restroom, put some batteries in it, I think you'll find it will relieve your frustration.
Is it true you killed his canary?
What?
How can you fire him on a day he's lost all his money?
And his aunt's died. His favourite aunt died this morning.
Look,
It's the
for
only
goodness
family-
sake, how many times have I told you people, Colin doesn't matter?
Oh, I'll put that in the letter, shall I?
Look, Colin is not important.
Dear Colin, you are not important.
We're running a public service here. Colin's not important, I'm not important, you're not important. The only person who matters in this building is that lady over there. Our public. She doesn't care if it's a blind man with a dead budgerigar and a birthday. All she wants, I'll tell you what she wants. She wants...
I want someone to explain why there is 6 inches of sewage in the downstairs changing room.
Panic over, Mr. Brittas. They're working again.
What?
Toilets all flushing normally. The goodness knows where all that stuff went.
Well, if you're shoveling it down a toilet, Linda, of course you're not going to get anywhere. It's just going to come straight back up in the basement. Well, if you've run out of buckets, use some saucepans from the cafeteria. And then you empty it in the area under the swings, all right? Bye. Any luck?
Yeah, he's on his way.
About time, too.
He's putting his rodding equipment straight in the van and he'll be here in 11 hours.
11 hours?
It's a long way from Lanark. On the other hand, he's never heard of you. Do you still want this?
No, I certainly do. Right, Colin. No time to be nice about this. You're fired. I'm giving you 1 week's money in lieu of notice. And that... Laura?
I've been thinking, Mr. Brittas.
Where's Colin?
The reason I've always supported you...
Laura, I don't have time...
What you've done, however stupid or half-baked everyone thought it was, I've always known that underneath it all you meant well.
Laura, I have an emergency...
However many people got hurt, it was always because you were trying to do what you believed was best, particularly what you believed was best for your staff.
Yeah, you're not still going on about Colin, are you?
I'm afraid I am.
Colin is the least of my problems at the moment, Laura.
You can't fire him, Mr. Brittas. Not Colin. It's wrong.
Laura, do you think I want to? Do you think it gives me some sort of pleasure? I don't have any choice. He's useless. You tell me one thing Colin is good at. Go on. Tell me one thing Colin can do. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a promise. If you can tell me one thing that Colin is good at, I will make him manager. Not only that, I'll make him Lord High Executioner of it.
There's your problem, Mr. Brittas. When I heard downstairs they were getting back up again, I said to myself, I wonder, they can't have, can they? So I opened up the gratings, and sure enough, they put the R17 in back to front.
What's an R17, Colin?
It's a one-way solids exclusion valve, Laura. It works a bit like a cat flap, you see. This door here is to stop waste matter going back up the floor. But if you put it in backwards... I've put the spare in.
You mean it's working again?
Smooth as ketchup out of a bottle, Mr. Brittas. And don't you worry about the mess, I'll soon clean that up.
Oh, just a minute, Colin. I think Mr. Brittas may have some good news for you.
Yeah, Colin. Never hurt a fly.
Not unless it ate something off his skin.
So, we're all agreed then, are we?
Yes.
Would going on strike mean having to stay out of the centre?
Well, there's not much point if we all come to work, Carol.
No, I know that, but some of us do have family commitments in the building.
Well, I'll organise a chest of drawers on the picket line for you. The important thing is that we all stand together.
I was wondering if Mr. Brittas doesn't actually have a point.
What?
Well, I mean, from a management point of view, Colin is
Look,
a bit...
if we let him sack someone for not doing his job, then none of us is safe. Well, I'm not.
Right. As union representative, I'll tell Brittas that no one here does any work until Colin...
I want 6 volunteers for the basement.
Colin!
Thank you, Tim. Just 5 more.
I thought you'd been fired.
Fired?
Yes, isn't that why Mr. Brittas wanted to see you? We heard he was looking for a new deputy manager.
Well, I suppose he is, now that I've been promoted
Promote?
to manager in charge of building fabric, with a new uniform, a 2.5% pay rise, and my own office in the basement when I've dug it out.
Are you sure you're up to it?
I'm grand, thank you, Carol. You know, this could have been such a bad day, but in that special way of his, Mr. Brittas made everything right. Hey, just a minute. I can see!
Helen! I was supposed to be seeing you, wasn't I?
Never mind.
I'm sorry, my darling. Got caught up in a couple of things and then...
I just heard about Colin.
Colin?
I've never seen anyone look so happy. I'm so glad you decided not to fire him.
Well, Colin's not a bad man, my darling. The trick with Colin was to help him find his niche. I knew if I could do that, it would be better for him, better for me, better for everyone.
I suppose so.
Yes, I think he'll be all right now. A complete disaster as a swimming pool manager, but the man does have a good feel for toilets.
Oh, that's nice.
Laura tells me you don't want to go to Brussels.
That's what I've been trying to tell you. You see, I think...
My darling, if you don't want to go to Brussels, we won't go. You mean much more to me than any job. You do know that, don't you?
No, I think a change could be a good idea. You know, better for you, better for me, better for everyone.
Yes.
What's all this then?
This happens to be a rather important survey Carol's been doing about the cafeteria.
Oh.
Who would have thought that what people really want are more high chairs, a proper child menu and an area for breastfeeding?
Really?
2% of papers unfortunately spoiled, but we normally get that sort of thing.
Ooh.
The big question is, what do we do next?
I have an idea.
Yes?
Has Julie gone home yet?
Yes, I suppose we've got some freestanding screens from the lecture hall we can cordon off a mother and child area. Helen?
We're going to do my idea first, Gordon.